Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Right off the top, with Chad, who is rocking out with his Razer Blade Pro. This is a 17-inch monster.
This thing is the funnest laptop that I've had in a long, long time. It's the Razer Blade from Razer, the people who make great keyboards and mice and stuff like that.
I have a Razer mouse. I love it.
It's
got the Razer logo on it.
It does. It does. So on the quick overview of the hardware is you have a 17-inch screen. This is a 1080p screen, and you have your normal keyboard, and it has a few extra buttons. Some notable ones is you have a little Razer button here next to the keyboard, which is used or next to the trackpad, which is used for trackpad stuff later.
Those things look like they're lit up with different icons.
Right. And so
is this like Art Lebedev kind of keyboard?
So every single one of these is a teeny tiny little screen, and so if I click into something, it will move depending on what you have.
And what's that big screen doing?
What big screen? What
the little
this?
One,
this is actually my trackpad. So if this extra button next to the trackpad,
it looks like Twitter.
It is Twitter. That is Twitter. So this works sort of like a home button. So if I hit it again, it becomes a trackpad again, and so I can move my mouse around.
Okay, is that the only trackpad on it?
This is the only trackpad on the device.
So it's a screen and a trackpad.
Absolutely.
And so anything you punch on there shows up only in the little screen.
Oh, I get it. You push the Twitter button, and now you're looking at your Twitter feed.
Exactly. Now, this seems like a really and on top of like small little apps, like you have YouTube, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, and you have Gmail. You also have things like your a number pad. So if you wanted to use...
It seems to me the most useful thing would be to assign it gaming keys.
Yes. So you can go in using Synapse, and they have apps available so that you can, like, say if you're playing Battlefield 3, you can have all of your keys up here, or maybe... if you're playing World of Warcraft, you can bind keys, and you can even choose pictures to go in here. That was a little bit kludgy. In fact, my biggest frustration with this computer is actually probably this trackpad. First, it's glass, so if your finger is like a tiny bit hydrated or sweaty, you can definitely kind of feel that it's smooth glass, not a nice perforated glass. Yeah, it's not a textured glass. On top of that, it seems very, very, very buggy. So let's just try to load in Gmail right now.
Loading.
And we're waiting.
Loading.
We're waiting.
This is a second screen most of the time, but you also use the second screen as your trackpad, and it did in fact load, did it?
This happens every single time. This is.
You are on the internet,
and it's I'm absolutely connected to the internet, and it works with Twitter. So I just load up Twitter. I can go to my @replies.
Something wrong with the Gmail app.
And on top of that, it feels like this is like a 1990s BlackBerry. Like this is the mobile version of Twitter, and if I zoom in, it does that really chunky, like really
scale it.
Bad
It's hard for us to tell on camera. Is that a decent screen, or it looks a little washed out?
It's okay. Yeah, the angle, of course, it's not the best quality screen. So the angle that the camera is getting right now,
you can see it pretty well.
Yeah, you can see, especially when, and it's definitely angled because you're looking at it. Whoa. It kind of makes it hard if the camera kind of goes a little sane, but it's definitely angled so that you can look at it very far back, because you're sitting there on a laptop. You kind of need that, and same with all of these buttons. At the angle that I'm located to the computer, I'm just going to go ahead and if you go back to that product shot, if you tilt the computer this way, all those buttons kind of
can't read them.
Yeah, they're sort of angled so that you can only see them.
It's a really good idea, and I'm even thinking now more for gaming, but to have a menu, like if somebody says, "Oh, I'd buy that for Maya." Yeah, if you're a 3D developer, you could have dedicated keys.
It has things like GIMP is already in there and stuff like that.
Photographer, so forth.
One of my favorite features is this clock, which you have a stopwatch available, and so I use this during This Week in YouTube to time my ads, to know when I'm going. I can do laps and stuff like that. And this clock worked great. So it seems like some apps work really well and some work really horribly. And also, it's very easy to forget that you've opened up the YouTube thing, and then you try and use your trackpad, and it's not working, and it's because you have to hit the home button and enter in the trackpad again. So to me, this is a really cool looking feature, but it is a very buggy and difficult
Are
features.
those
to
third
use.
party or is that from Razer?
This is all from Razer. I haven't installed any third party.
You got to worry about whether or not they care to update their Gmail.
Exactly.
Keyboard app.
And it has so some cool things that it does is so like say you're in a game and you don't want to go to your desktop, you could load up a browser. I can go and click in here and you can see that it says keyboard is now active. So anything that I type into the keyboard will now happen over here on the
I'd
little
worry
screen.
about the mouse being, as a trackpad, that it'd be more fragile because it's a screen. It might be easy to damage.
So I didn't get that feeling.
It's got glass on top of it.
Yeah, I didn't get that feeling that much that I was
Tell us about
worried.
the rest of the laptop. How is it? It's got to be powerful, right?
Very powerful. So inside of the laptop, you have 8 gigabytes of RAM. This has a solid state hard drive. The one that I reviewed has a 512 hard drive. Also, let me just pull up my specs so I know that I'm absolutely not getting anything wrong. It has
We're talking a Core i7.
Yep.
Is it 4th generation? Is it a Haswell?
That's a good question.
By now they'll have Haswell.
Yeah, it's 2.2 gigahertz, and
it is 4th generation.
It is 4th generation, and then the graphics card is an NVIDIA 765, the mobile version, and with 2 gigabytes of RAM.
As always, you make a few compromises with a gaming laptop, but this is pretty high end. How heavy is it?
This is 6.5 pounds, so it's definitely kind of a heavy thing to carry around.
That ain't no laptop.
No, and it's 17 inches, so like this was maxing out my backpack basically. Getting the zipper around the backpack.
Is the market for this gamers who want to go to LAN parties, that kind of thing?
Yes.
It's not something you'd want to carry to school.
But also, I mean, as a PC enthusiast, a few years ago, what I kept begging for was someone to make an absolutely beautiful laptop. And don't care that much about the price. Basically, I wanted the MacBook Pro of laptops.
Well,
and
as equipped, how much is that?
This is $2,300 at the low end. This model is $2,500.
Okay. It is MacBook Pro price.
It's MacBook Pro price.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's very. The one thing that you don't get is you don't get the Retina display, but it's still that same sort of unibody construction.
It looks pretty.
It's
Apple
missing,
no longer makes a 17, so.
Yep. It's missing a optical disc drive, so they've made it very thin. Yes,
That's a surprise.
Yeah, no optical disc drive. USB 3, you have 3 USB 3 ports. You have HDMI out, you have Ethernet, and you have a headphone mic port, integrated headphone mic port down there.
And you like the style, you like the way it feels and looks.
I really do. This is the biggest selling point of this laptop is using it and bringing it out. It is nice. It is stylish. It is a dream to use. It's very fast. And everything. I mean, just looking at it and typing on it feels great. And the top of this here, let's go ahead and show that. It has kind of this nice, almost flanged top here with the Razer logo.
Is that glowing or is it just a sticker?
It uses the backlit display to also glow whenever I open up the monitor here.
There'll be no question at the LAN party that you've got a Razer.
Now, one downside is that it does have Windows 8.
Is it a touchscreen? No.
It is not a touchscreen, so you have to use the trackpad. So,
but as a gaming machine,
it works really well. Yeah, of course, if you're really going to be gaming, you don't really, the trackpad's not sensitive enough. It's
oh really?
It's not, I mean,
you still use a mouse.
It's as sensitive as a normal trackpad.
Gamers use mice.
Yeah, it's not that it's a bad trackpad. It's just you don't really. Use
I do notice if you're a lefty, you're going to hate that because you can't use your left hand. You have to use your right hand.
Right. So my pros and cons for this are: the pros is that hardware design is absolutely phenomenal. I love using. I mean, it's the only thing that gets close to Apple hardware design, and I'm going to miss having this in my backpack. Also, on the pros is great specs. If I ran some stats using 3D Mark, and you can see that it's very close. It's above Ultrabook, a little bit below the gaming laptop stats, if this is just using their sort of number generator. But playing Battlefield 3, Crysis 2, League of Legends, all of that, it just soared. It was absolutely great. Nothing held me back there. Now, on the cons, this trackpad is incredibly buggy. And other than using it as a trackpad, I didn't really trust it with even checking out YouTube videos or using it to check Twitter in the middle of gaming was just kind of, I mean, it felt chunky. It felt like an older app, like smashed into it felt like a hardware designer made this without any thought of what the software should actually be like. And then the other con is that this is completely left hand absent. So if you're a lefty, the trackpad is permanently on the right side of the screen. And I'm used to using MacBook Pros, which always have it here, and they also use a metal finish on their trackpad. Many times I would find myself forgetting that there is no trackpad here because of muscle memory. That's not really a problem of the laptop. That's just a story. That's not one of my cons.
Just a story.
Yeah, it's just a little thing to keep in mind that that this feels very familiar to a MacBook Pro trackpad. So coming in at over $2,000, and they do sell a 15-inch version of this that doesn't have the fancy trackpad. And so buy, try, don't buy. I'm going to give this a buy. I really enjoyed using this computer, and the buy has a little bit of an addendum. I'm not bringing budget into my decision. If
no, you shouldn't.
You know, if you have the amount of money to drop on this computer, I suggest it. You should definitely go. I truly would suggest the 15-inch over the 17-inch. It was a little bit
big. Yeah.
It was a little bit too large and heavy, and I didn't love this trackpad. And other than that, a beautiful, amazing hardware. Loved using it.
Very good. Chad Johnson, host of OMG Craft and This Week in YouTube, and a producer here at the Twit Network, is giving the Razer, what is the model number on that? The Blade Pro 17-inch a buy.
Right.